I rise this Yom HaShoah in support of ACR 176. I've been thinking for days that a lot of the struggles that many folks have is a lack of seeing themselves in other people. So I want to thank my colleagues in the Jewish Caucus for these photos on each of our desks. I found out today that Edith, Frank, and I have the same birthday. And I imagine that coincidence is not just on my desk. It's that humanity that I think grounds us. I've known for a couple weeks I was going to speak on this day, and I've thought over and over again about what I should say, what I need to say. What does my colleague from Menlo Park need me to say? What does my colleague from Long Beach need to hear from me in the Black Caucus? And I've just done a lot of thinking. I think about the conditions in Germany that allowed for a tyrannical dictator to arise to power. I think about the way that power was used with the consent of the governed and those in governing institutions to create a lower caste. I think about all of the laws that were mentioned by my colleague in the Bay Area, the Nuremberg laws, that were based off of Jim Crow laws here in the States. Prevention from accessing higher education, a denial and erasure of citizenship, the inability to own businesses, the inability to interracially marriage, to marry who you love, the creation of a racial identity for the purposes of enforcing this new caste system. You were Jewish if 3 of your grandparents were Jewish, very much like our one-drop rule for descendants of slaves here in this country. I also thought a lot this weekend about resistance and the Warsaw Uprising and how that was snuffed out by SS officers who went block by block, killing Jews indiscriminately. I think about the clandestine acts of disobedience where folks practiced the high holidays in secret and continued to be proud and Jewish, under threat and under fear, but still an act of protest and disobedience nonetheless. And I think of the Allies, the folks who created documents that allowed for their Jewish brothers and sisters to smuggle here to the States and to other places seeking refuge around the world. I think of the folks who hid families in tunnels and under floorboards, who risked their own life for the lives of others. And in thinking about all of those things, I still couldn't come up with perfect answers. But I know a few things. I know that the Holocaust is not a myth. It's absolutely not a myth. It is a moment in history that can and must never be, cannot ever be forgotten by anybody. I also know that my pursuit of justice and fairness and equality are not at all in conflict with loving my Jewish brothers and sisters and standing in solidarity and calling out hate when we see it. I think here in California, we have created a special place for all people from all backgrounds all around the world to live and thrive and to love and to see one another. And I think in this body, we have a responsibility. Like our colleague from Encino mentioned, today is not just a day of remembrance. It's a day of action. And that action is to see one another, as the Jewish Caucus has reminded us, putting these pictures on our desk. And that action is to move with love and compassion and in solidarity. And with that, on behalf of the Black Caucus, I respectfully ask for your aye vote.